Hey guys, this is Kevin here from the Wellness Hub. So today I thought I'll speak to you about breathing. How this came up was I had a patient who came in this week and she had a bit of shoulder pain. I assessed her and we found out that she wasn't breathing adequately, or she just wasn't breathing the right way. And so I thought that's actually not a bad topic to speak about. So today I thought I'll speak to you about breathing. So I'm going to speak about oral breathing and nasal breathing and the effect it has on the body itself. And so why breathing? You know, we breathe every minute of every day. What's the big fuss? And I think that's actually the problem, is we breathe so much. Something so vital, our life force, which comes in the form of breath. You know, we should definitely be a lot more aware of what we do with it and how we do it. And I think that's so critical over there. So very basic. What is oral breathing? What is nasal breathing? So as you would tell from the name, nasal breathing means you breathe through your nose, and oral breathing means you breathe through your mouth. Now, studies have shown that there is a link between breathing through your nose and your brain activity, as well as breathing through your mouth and brain activity. And the one is inversely proportional and the other one is directly proportional. So nasal breathing has been shown to increase the brain activity, specifically you know, either the left hemisphere or the right hemisphere, and we'll speak about how that comes about. Oral breathing has been shown to decrease the brain activation region, specifically, again, either the left or the right. And so when you think about when we were born, we were designed to breathe through our nose. And as we grow up, life starts to happen and we become stressed out, we become conditioned by our environment, and somehow we start to breathe through our mouth. And that is not to say that we can't reverse that, but it's going to take a lot of conscious effort. So the studies have shown that there is an increase in activation of the brain when we breathe through our nose. Now, they actually took it a step further, and they've shown that if you breathe through your right nostril, it actually activates your left brain, or your left hemisphere of the brain. And they've also shown that if you breathe through your left nostril, that will activate the right hemisphere of the brain a lot better. And so I was telling my patient this, and she said, "So, Kaylin, does that mean if I breathe only if I have sinus and my left nostril is blocked, and I can only breathe adequately in my if my right nostril is blocked and I can only breathe adequately in my left nostril, does that mean my right hemisphere will be a lot more activated compared to my left?" And the answer is no. They both get activated, but just the one more than the other. So that's a very good thing over there. So what does that have to do with real life? And so, you know, if you happen to engage in activity that requires more left brain dominant or right brain dominant activity, you can actually use this to your advantage. So right hand dominant essentially means spatial, a lot more physical attributes occur, art-like characteristics on the right hand side, where the left hand side is a lot more analytical, it's a lot more structural, it's a lot more academic like. So you can use this to your advantage, and I've seen this in my practice. I will get people to breathe in the left nostril, then the right nostril, and they, you know, and then I would get them to balance, and they would, you know, have an improvement in their balance. And you know, you have to think, whoa, if this happens in a matter of minutes, you know, you could definitely transfer this to another activity. So that's quite amazing, just to think about over there. So that's the one aspect, and that I think is quite profound using nasal breathing. Studies have also shown the link between breathing, nasal breathing specifically, and yawning. And so why is yawning so important? One of the mechanics, or one of the reasons why we yawn is actually to regulate our body temperature, our core temperature. So studies have shown that, you know, with people with schizophrenia, epilepsy, stress, anxiety, depression, those sort of people have an increase in core temperature. And they've shown that these sort of people also tend to yawn a lot more, which is quite interesting. And so it would speak about the rise in core temperature. Now, nasal breathing has been shown to decrease core temperature. And so if you're anxious, if you have depression or signs of depression, if you have epilepsy, schizophrenia, I'm not saying nasal breathing will take it away, but what I am saying is it will help to manage your symptoms a lot more better. So that is something that for you to think about over there. And so that's quite important. Now, why would we want to regulate our core temperature? One of the reasons why we would want to do that is if you were to have an increase in core temperature, it will drastically affect the nervous system. And with the nervous system being affected, all sorts of things happen to the body negatively, and one of them being deprivation of sleep. We have a lack of sleep. Our melatonin levels decrease dramatically over there because of the increase in core temperature. Your body needs to be cool in order to sleep properly. And the next thing that would affect that we would be affected by if our core temperature is increased is the reuptake of serotonin. And as you know, serotonin is just a feel-good hormone over there. It's what makes us buzz. We just feel good when this hormone is at an adequate level. And so that's also a very, very important thing. And this is all due to core temperature, just an increase in core temperature. So that's also very, very important of this. So what am I trying to say? If you feel like you have, if you're struggling to sleep, if you're struggling with anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, epilepsy, or just fatigue in general, and you have all those things or a few of those things that I've mentioned, I would actually suggest that you do something that's very, very simple. You might think it's weird at the beginning, but trust me guys, it works. Is to, before you go to bed, tie tape over your mouth. And what the tape does, it actually forces you to start breathing through your nose and allows you to regulate your core temperature a lot better. So I've done that, I've given that to a few of my patients, and the feedback is amazing. I've done it myself, and I cannot highly recommend it. It is one of the best things that I've done so far. So highly recommend it, guys. Please give it a go. Comment, let me know how you feel doing that. And then one of the other things that I've realized is I have quite a few patients that have asthma that come in, and I've noticed that, you know, just the way they carry themselves, you know, they breathe a lot more with their mouth and their nose. And you know, if you were to imagine what an asthmatic person would be like or breathe like, you would almost naturally think through their mouth, and that's exactly how they breathe. I'm not saying all, but most of them over there. So, and the research has shown that exercise-induced asthma specifically is correlated to breathing, specifically nasal breathing, and it is inversely proportional, meaning as you increase your nasal breathing, there's a decrease in your exercise-induced asthma. And so that's quite important. And I realized that with my patients, you know, they would come in and I would just tell them to breathe through your nose, and they would do that. And before you know it, you know, they honestly, they just feel a lot better. They feel free. There's an ease of breathing. They don't feel heavy. There's like a heaviness usually on their chest, and they don't have that. And that's when I was actually I suffer from asthma myself, and I started playing sport, and the sport which forces you to really start breathing adequately and properly allows you to overcome asthma. And I had exercise-induced asthma as well, so I've experienced all of this myself. So that was also something that was really important and really, profound to just not just know it, but see it in practice. Now, these are just a few things that breathing can do for you. It's really up to you as the individual to give this a go and try it for yourself. Now, breathing in and of itself really there is so much more than what we think and what we perceive it to be. This is really just the tip of the iceberg of what breathing can do for you. If you were to think about breathing, it allows you to, first of all, live and survive, and most importantly, it keeps you alive. And that's exactly the power it has. It has the power of not only keeping you alive, but really bettering your life, and just by controlling your breath. Now, the reason why I like breathing is we all have the ability to breathe. This is not something that only posh people can do. This is not something that only the rich people can do. This is something that everyone can do. And so if you are feeling stressed, if you do have any epilepsy, if you do have any anxiety, depression, anything that you feel is hampering your life, you can do something about it. And so breathing and breath work has been connected also to your emotions. Tony Robbins says, your emotion is linked to your motion. And so motion dictates emotion. The way you move is correlated to the way you emote, the way you show emotion. And I can say it's exactly that. You see, breathing is a form of movement. That if you breathe in a certain way, you would essentially feel a certain way. If I were to ask you, how does a sad person breathe? You would come up with a way, you would have a picture of how a sad person would breathe, or a person that is depressed. How would an excited person breathe? There's a way that they would breathe. How would a confused person breathe? There's a way that they would breathe. And so your breathing pattern is linked to an emotional pattern. And we always try to change our emotions. And as human beings, I know it's very difficult to change one's emotion. And so I've always thought of, why can't we change our emotion through our, breathing or motion specifically. So one of the ways that I've realized is through breathing. And so I would say give it a go and let me know how it feels. Comment, share, like, subscribe, but most importantly, guys, feel what's required when you needing to breathe. Really get a sense of what's going on within the body. Notice what you notice, and you'll be pleasantly surprised as to what you find over there. Guys, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Let me know how everything goes. And if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to hear about any other topic, let me know. I am more than willing to speak about anything that's on your mind. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the talk. And if you do not like the talk, sorry. But if you did, thumbs up. Until next time, guys, have a good day further, and